Alright, fellow Slayers, now it's time to take a look at the episode Doomed. Still in Buffy's dorm, Buffy and Riley finally talk. As much as Riley wants to tell Buffy who he really is, he can't. But Buffy's able to guess based on the evidence of the past several weeks. Riley's amazed by her talents and abilities, but when she confesses that she's the Slayer, he doesn't know what that is. An earthquake hits, though mild. The very last earthquake Buffy experienced disturbs her. As Xander cleans up some earthquake damage in her basement, he informs Spike that if he's going to live there, he'll have to do some housework. Spike is angry and tries to hit Xander over the head with a wrench while his back is turned, but the pain in his head caused by the chip prevents him. I guess when Xander cleans up some earthquake damage in his basement, but whatever. Willow checks on Buffy and tells her about the aftershock party that's taking place in one of the dorm buildings that lost power. Buffy goes to Giles, fearing that the world is going to come to an end, but dismisses her ideas, telling her that earthquakes are normal Southern California occurrence. He then changes the subject to tracking down the commandos, telling Buffy that based on their information, it seems that the base is below UC Sunnydale and that other students may be involved. Buffy gets uncomfortable with the topic and tries to discuss the earthquake more, but Giles once again shrugs off her concerns. In the initiative facilities, Riley asks Forrest what he knows about the Slayer, which Forrest thinks is just a myth that monsters made up. In fact, the demons themselves are explained away as being simple animals. A demon goes berserk and attacks Riley and Forrest. They manage to subdue it and wonder at the strange activity their demonic captives have been exhibiting since the earthquake. At the party, Willow sees Percy, whom she tutored in high school. The girl he is with, Lori, has a problem with Willow talking to Percy and suggests that they go somewhere else. Meanwhile, a guy is mixing drinks alone in one of the dorm rooms and has his throat slit by a large demon. Later, Willow overhears a conversation between Percy and Lori, where Percy calls Willow captain of the nurse squad to soothe this girl's jealousy. Depressed, Willow goes into one of the dorm rooms to lie in a bed. Lights come by gone, she finds herself next to a body, a symbol carved into the chest of a pyramid with an eye in the center. Xander finds Spike humiliated wearing Xander's Hawaiian shirt and shorts because he shrunk his own clothes. When Spike tries to get temperamental, Xander loses his temper and harshly tells Spike that no one is scared of him anymore and it's not even worth having Buffy kick his ass before walking away. Buffy arrives at the suspended party, and Willow fills her in about the body she found and about Percy talking bad about her. Riley just basks with Forrest and broods about Buffy in his bedroom when Graham walks in and tells them about the murder. Riley orders the others to report to Professor Walsh while he checks the situation out himself. In Giles' apartment, Willow shows the Scoobies the symbol carved into the student's chest. Giles says it is definitely the end of the world. Buffy mentions she knows the symbol from somewhere, but she can't remember where. She goes to hunt down the demon and recognizes the symbol in a crypt. Inside, the demon is collecting the bones of a small child. She fights the demon, but it escapes, and she runs into Riley. He tries to talk to her and convince her to give the relationship between them a chance, but because of all the pain in her past and the problems she's certain it will cause, she tells him no. She explains that she went to high school on top of a hellmouth for 3 years and he has no idea what he's doing, so he'll, more than likely, just end up dead. He tries to convince her that the past relationships weren't with him, and it'll be different because of that, but she still says she can't be in another doomed relationship. Research leads the Scoobies to find that the demon needs the blood of a man, the bones of a child, and the word of Valios to perform a ritual called the Sacrifice of Three, which will destroy the world. Willow and Xander head out to go to a museum to see if they can find the word, but Xander says he can stop by his place to pick up his weapons. Riley talks to his team and sends them out to find and kill the demon. They use a device capable of tracking pheromone signature a mile wide. Spike says his goodbyes and attempts to kill himself by falling from a chair onto a stake positioned on a table. When Willow and Xander walk in, Spike falls and destroys the table, completely missing the stake. Xander tells Spike that he should have just asked him to stake him, because he's more than happy to help him out. Willow grabs the stake away from Xander, and Spike appeals to her by pointing out that he's not even scary anymore. Will argues that they know Spike now and letting him kill himself wouldn't be right. After getting his weapons, Xander tells Spike that if he does any more damage, he'll be sleeping in the garage. Pitying him, Will insists that they take him along. Spike tries to get them to leave without him by promising Will he won't hurt himself. Will insists he come. Xander tells him to look on the bright side. If they can't find what they're looking for, then Spike can die when the apocalypse happens. Out on patrol, Buffy runs into Riley again, and Riley resumes their conversation. He tells Buffy that she needs to be more positive, not to look for the bad in the situation. When a few people walk by, Riley says it makes sense for them to be together because both of them are fry cooks. She points out to him that there's a big difference because he's an amateur fry cook, and she comes from a long line of fry cooks that tend to die before they reach the age of 25. Riley says he knows the rest of what they do, and he still wants to take a chance with them because the work they do is rewarding and even fun. Buffy tells him that the last person she knew that thought it was fun is in a coma. Riley says he knows part of her reluctance is because of someone in her past. Buffy just tells him to leave her alone. Ooh. Outside the Historical Museum in Sunnydale, Will and Xander are successful in their search for the word of Valios. Spike discourages them by talking about Xander's lack of direction in his life and Will's inability to get Oz to stay, as well as their seeming uselessness to Buffy. Spike says that they are merely Slayer groupies whom Buffy doesn't have the heart to turn away. Buffy would be a much better Slayer without constantly having to watch out for them. Will and Xander protest his words as being untrue and claim he's just saying this stuff to make them stake him. Spike argues that he simply doesn't want sympathy from two people he thinks are more useless than him. Spike turns and walks away, grinning. Giles comes across an illustration of the word of Valios and sees it's actually a talisman and realizes that he has it. After fetching out the weapons trunk, he grabs his suit about to leave when the demons reveal themselves in his living room. Giles tries to fight them off, but they beat him badly. They get found Giles bruised, and tells them he brought the talisman at a sorcerer's estate sale and thought it was a knockoff. Giles sends him off to the Sunnydale High School, and after he informs that the ritual is to open the Hellmouth. Buffy, Will, and Xander and Spike head back to the ruins of the school. Buffy tells them to be careful, and Spike says he'd be happy if they all just fell and got swallowed up. When Buffy asks why Spike is even there, Will explains that he'll stake himself if they leave him alone. Buffy asks why that's a problem, and this says never mind. After walking through the black corridors, as everyone piles of charred mayor meat, the gang makes it to the crater that used to be the school library, where 3 demons are performing the ritual. A fight breaks out, and Xander runs to grab the blood whilst Will gets the bag with the child bones in it. The first demon grabs the blood bag from Xander, then throws himself into the Hellmouth, revealing that the demons themselves are the sacrifice for the ritual. Will throws the bag of bones at Xander, who's just been attacked by a demon, so he throws it back at her. When a demon then comes after her, she throws the bag to Spike. When the demon attacks Spike to get the bones, he punches Spike a few times and after several hits the demon back. When there's no pain in his head, he realizes he can hurt demons. Ecstatic over this revelation, Spike probably beats the demon senseless. Caught in the excitement of being able to fight, he forgets about the fact that they're trying to stop the sacrifices and throws a demon, who just happened to grab the bag of bones when he was on the floor, into the Hellmouth. When Will and Xander look at him aggravatingly, Ezra is so upset because he believes he was helping. Debris starts falling, and Buffy yells for them to get out because the building is going to come down. Spike gets knocked out by falling debris while Will and Xander, who stops to help grab Spike, take off. While the rest of the gang escape the soon-to-be falling building, Riley shows up to help Buffy fight. The third demon grabs the talisman and crawls his way into the Hellmouth, and Buffy goes in after it. Thanks to a cable hook Riley attached to her belt, Buffy's pulled out of the Hellmouth along with the third demon. The earthquake stops. Afterwards, when Buffy come across Xander, Will, and Spike, he tries to keep up his secret identity by saying he was walking by and heard noises. Will asks why he's wearing military gear. Riley tries to say he was paintballing, but Xander says Riley is one of the commandos. Riley sees Spike and says he looks familiar. Spike conceals his identity by posing as a pal of Xander's with a bad American accent. While they're walking out, Xander asks Will if it's weird being back. She says that everything looks smaller, more charred and ruiny. The next day, Buffy goes to Riley's dorm, where he says how upset he is at himself for allowing her and her friends to find out about him. Telling him it's not the end of the world, she kisses him. Back in Xander's basement, Spike turns off the TV. Willow and Xander are watching TV and eagerly tries to convince to go out demon hunting. So anyway, let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. The episode continues immediately after the previous episode's last scene. Buffy describes herself as Capricorn on the cusp of Aquarius. She refers to being born between the dates January 17th or 19th. Indeed, Buffy was born on January 19th, 1981. The earthquake frightens Buffy, who remembers it as one of the portents of Prophecy Girl announcing her first death. Buffy briefly goes to Faith, mentioning she was in a coma because she had so much fun on the job. Xander's back working fast food in between construction jobs, this time delivering pizzas. Prior to Pangs, it was mentioned that he worked at Hot Dog on a Stick. Willow meets Percy, whom she had tortured in Doppelgangland. He had not been seen since the graduation day battle. Willow explains that she's not a nerd because she's dating a guitarist, and she began dating Oz in phases. She corrects herself, saying that she's not dating anyone anymore, as they broke up in Wild at Heart. When Giles announces the end of the world, Buffy, Willow, and Xander exclaim, "Again?" This is at least the fifth apocalypse the Scoobies avert, after the ones in The Harvest, Prophecy Girl, Becoming Part 2, and The Zeppo. Buffy flips herself off the ground and almost punches Riley, believing him to be a demon, but he easily blocks the punch. This situation will happen exactly the same between them in Real Me. Buffy explains that the difference between herself and Riley is that he treats demon hunting as a job, while for Buffy it is her destiny. This echoes Buffy's conversation with Kendra at the end of What's My Line Part 2, in which Kendra lectured Buffy about not treating slaying like a job because it is who she is. Xander steps in something odd while walking at Sunnydale High, explaining as Mayor Meat, extra crispy, referring to Richard Wilkins, who died in the explosion in Graduation Day Part 2. The trophy that Catherine Madison is trapped in can be seen on the floor as the Scoobies walk through the school halls. Spike learns that his chip, discovered in the episode The Initiative, doesn't prevent him from hurting demons. This marks the beginning of Spike fighting evil alongside the Scoobies, albeit for different motives. Spike covers his identity for Riley, imitating an American accent and describing himself as a friend of Xander, which he'll try again in Goodbye, Iowa. Yeah, I wonder how that'll work out. Anyway, let's take a look at some production notes from this episode. About the unusual process of 3 writers for an episode, Doug Petrie has explained, quote, "I think in terms of the lineup, I would probably have written that one myself, except I was getting married that week, and as much as Buffy, I was glad I took that couple days off. It was tough and it was funny because Jane Espenson, Marty Noxon, and Joss Whedon were all there for my wedding. Jane at one point was on the dance floor and said, 'Okay, I've got to go back.' We were writing it over a weekend. Doomed was very difficult. I was around for the breaking of the story, and I'm happy about that. It was difficult and it was hard. I think that we were really up against the wall. We didn't know what we were going to do and we didn't have much time. Things either go really, really well when that happens. You are blessed with a kind of inspiration. Things click and they move fast because you don't have time. Wonderful things happen, or you work really hard and do your best and hope. I think that was the case with Doomed. It was a lot of hard work. Buffy and Riley are the king and queen of their respective worlds and have their own methods of dealing with the enemy." End quote. Mark Blucas is added to the opening credits starting with this episode. Much of Anthony Stewart Head's dialogue is very noticeably redubbed in this episode. This is most noticeable in the scene where Buffy first has Giles by the earthquake. The lip sync is off and the audio is far too clean in comparison to Sarah Michelle Gellar's. The diegetic audio from the last scene continues for a brief moment into closing credits. The technique used in the episodes I Robot You Jane, Lie to Me, Homecoming, Helpless, Pangs, Out of My Mind, among others. And now let's take a look at some pop culture references. When Riley asks Forrest if he knows what Slayer is, he first mentions the metal band, which he compares to Black Sabbath. The mistake is again made by Fred in the Angel episode Spin the Bottle. Forrest says Riley is from Smallville, a reference to the fictional hero Superman. Percy has a scholarship to the University of Southern California. Xander says that the symbol carved in the victim's chest resembles the CBS logo, and asks the journalist Morley Saffir long-running host of the CBS show 60 Minutes, could be involved. Buffy asks Riley if now was the time for Donkey Kong. Well, first Riley's uniform has his G.I. Joe outfit. Now finally, let's take a look at a couple goofs. When Xander, Will, and Spike are leaving the museum, you can see the camera rails/track. When Spike walks away from Xander Willow, it's clearly shown to the right of the screen. During a watch of the fight between Xander and the Varroa demons, James Marsters is seen in the background with his vampire makeup on as another Varroa demon grabs him, and when the camera cuts closer, he is without his vampire makeup. So I think this episode is kind of interesting, and this fact that it's revealed that Spike can hurt demons is actually kind of interesting in itself. So yeah, and yeah, I like the fact that that the relationship between Buffy and Riley is starting to have some potential. So yeah. So overall, I give Doomed 4 vampire steaks out of 5. Might even tune in a bit, wait till get the final episode for a while. A new man. So, until then, here endeth the lesson.